this is Lord's Legion and welcome to another countdown. And in this video, I'm going to be counting down my personal top 9 wish list for Injustice 2 DLC characters. So for this list, I took several things into consideration, such as popular demand, how likely they're going to be in, and of course these characters are ranked in who I want to see the most. So yes, expect a few guest characters on this list. The reason why I'm doing the top 9 list instead of the top 10 is purely because, well, there's going to be 9 DLC characters, but then again, there could be a possibility that we might get more in the near future. So without further ado, let's begin with the countdown. So kicking off the list with number 9, we have Red Hood. Now Red Hood has been one of the most highly requested characters ever since the original Injustice game. And although I do like the character of Red Hood, I honestly don't see why people want him in the game so much. Because as we all know, we already have Deadshot, who is a similar character to Red Hood anyway. And there isn't really too much that Red Hood can bring new to the table that hasn't been done before. So why am I even including Red Hood on this list in the first place? Well, simply so that everyone can shut the fuck up about Red Hood! I mean seriously, the demand of having Red Hood in Injustice 2 is so barbaric! And everyone is so fixated on having Red Hood as a character in Injustice 2 that they'll make a whole bunch of videos in relation to Red Hood being confirmed in the game. So the reason why I want Red Hood in Injustice 2 is so that everyone could finally shut the fuck up! Rant over. Next entry. So coming in at number 8, we have a Mortal Kombat guest character. Now again, I'm not too crazy with this choice, but knowing NetherRealm, they are going to throw in another Mortal Kombat character. And like how Scorpion appeared in the last Injustice game, they're probably going to introduce Sub-Zero. And although it would be cool to see some of the gear system for Sub-Zero, I would rather have them pick someone else instead of Sub-Zero. So how about instead we pick another Mortal Kombat character who isn't such an obvious choice to add? How about Raiden or Liu Kang or even Shao Kahn? Or if you really want to go outlandish, how about you do Chameleon or some bullshit? But I pray to you NetherRealm, if you're going to add in a Mortal Kombat character, please do not be very obvious and just go with the Sub-Zero route. Coming in at number 7, we have Martian Manhunter. Now if there's one character who I would really want to see come back from the original Injustice game, Martian Manhunter is a must-have. And it really baffles my mind as to how he's not even in the main roster considering how much of a fan favourite he really was, as well as being one of the most downloaded character and above all else had a huge fan following. And the reason why I want Martian Manhunter back is so simple, and it's because he's one of the biggest mainstays in the DC universe. And they already have Martian Manhunter's gameplay narrowed down, so all they really need to do with Martian Manhunter is essentially do a few little tweaks on his gameplay, and then just go all out with his customization as well as his gear system. I mean, for God's sake, he is a shapeshifter, so the possibilities are endless when it comes down to his gear system. So coming in at number 6, we have John Constantine. Now yes, it is true that we already have Dr. Fate in Injustice 2, but the thing is, magic is so broad that you could possibly do something completely different with John Constantine. And unlike Dr. Fate, Constantine is more about outwitting his opponents. He can do astral projection, he could also control hellfire, he could also do illusions, he can summon demons and the undead, he can even do hypnosis, telekinesis and teleport. And this is only a fraction of what John Constantine can bring to the table. And since John Constantine is getting such a huge push in recent memory, nothing is stopping NetherRealm from including John Constantine into Injustice 2, especially considering many fans really want him in the game. So coming in at number 5, we have Dr. Manhattan. Now I did struggle on picking between Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan for Injustice 2, because these two are the perfect representatives for Watchmen for their own reasons, but ultimately I decided to go with Dr. Manhattan purely because A, he is more relevant in DC Comics, and B, there is so much more you could do with his moveset. And sure, people may bitch because Dr. Manhattan is a god, but do I really have to remind you about Darkseid? At the end of the day, if Darkseid can clarify for Injustice 2, then so could Dr. Manhattan. Plus his moveset is pretty much limitless, so you could do whatever the fuck you want with him. Just so long as he's not broken, then I think everyone should be perfectly okay with this. Coming in at number 4, we have a tiebreaker between Beast Boy and Vixen. And the reason why I have both Beast Boy and Vixen share the same spot is purely because they share the similar abilities, and honestly I don't mind whether they use Beast Boy or Vixen. Now both of these characters have the exact ability in which could shapeshift, or at the very least have the same abilities as other animals. So whether do you want to have the strength of a gorilla, move as fast as a cheetah, or even fly as a bird. And having these abilities in which you could keep on morphing your moveset could really keep the opponent on edge, and would make you all the more unpredictable. Now admittedly, if someone put a gun to my head and forced me to pick either Beast Boy or Vixen, I would personally go for Vixen purely because we need more female characters. But even if I end up getting Beast Boy instead, I wouldn't even complain. So coming in at number 3, we have Black Manta. Now why this character isn't even on the roster yet is beyond me, and this is very criminal, because Black Manta is Aquaman's #1 arch nemesis. And Aquaman is in dire need of having another representative by his side, and what better way than having his arch nemesis. Before anyone says, oh but he's a stage transition in Atlantis, you could easily replace him with Ocean Master and you pretty much have the same result. Problem solved! And even with that being said though, Black Manta would have a very interesting moveset, as you could have him shoot out his traditional laser beams, or you could have him even using his traditional daggers. After all, Black Manta is a mercenary, so you could do quite a few things with this character and make him fresh. So for the runner-up of this list, we have Starfire. And if there's one character who is even more requested than Red Hood, it is of course Starfire. And for perfectly good reason as well, because Starfire could bring a whole bunch of different things to the table and be her very own character. And obviously Starfire could shoot out a bunch of energy beams as well as some willpower related constructs in a similar vein to Green Lantern. Not only that though, Starfire is also super strong and super fast. So you could have Starfire incorporate both strength and speed during combat. Hell, you could even have Starfire fly around the area. And if you're not gonna have Raven come back, then Starfire is the perfect character who could replace Raven. And taking the top spot of this list, we have Spawn, the #1 highly requested guest character for Injustice 2, and for perfectly good reasons. Spawn is already a comic book property, so automatically that makes Spawn feel right at home with Injustice 2. And don't even get me started on Spawn's powers as well as his gear system, because the possibilities with this character is almost as endless as Dr. Manhattan and even Martian Manhunter. He could use his chains, or even his cape, or even his magic, or maybe even some of his arsenal, as Spawn is a master when it comes down to weaponry. And since Spawn is a product of the 90s, as well as being heavily influenced with the darkness, hell, and even the supernatural, Spawn would be the perfect character to include as DLC for Injustice 2, purely because on how unique this character could really be. So which character do you want most as DLC for Injustice 2? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.